Hey, everybody. So I wanted to, I'm going to struggle with this now. This is the second time I've done this. So I'm trying new software called StreamYard to see if we like this better than Zoom or whatever. And I did it the first time and just realized that I'd never clicked record because I'm not familiar with this yet. So this might be a little rough and I apologize, but I'm doing my best. And I'm trying to find the best products to use for our group. So hopefully we all like StreamYard and we can use that going forward. We'll see. Otherwise, we'll go back to Zooming. So I hope everybody's having a great day. It's good to see you. I'm happy to be here. A while back, I put up a picture that said, ask me anything. And you guys, some of you put questions and I have answers. And after we finish today, if you would put new questions on a new post, I'll put a new post up today and we'll just start accumulating questions again. And when we have a few, then I'll do another one of these. So without further ado, so Lynn Bassett asks, I have a comment, not a question. Please don't discontinue the series. Lynn, I am not planning to discontinue the series. I have a lot more Liz and Nate in me. There are some issues, though. I have to tell you kind of where I'm at, and this will sort of maybe answer a lot of questions that people have. When is the next book coming out? I get that a lot, and I think someone may have asked that also further down in the list. And this is probably the number one question that I get, and I don't have a good answer for it, and here's why. So for the last 10 books, the first 10 books in the Liz Talbot series, I have been with a publisher, the first publisher that I started out with, Henry Press, and that contract has just ended. So I have written the last book with Henry Press. And we are, my agent is in the process of trying to move me to a different publisher, and we will see how that goes. You know, publishing is an interesting business. There are all kinds of variables involved. But for the last 10 books, I have been under contract every year for another book. And so I could easily tell you when the release date was because it was under contract and I knew that we were going to be having a book come out that year. I anticipate having a book out for you this year. It just depends on how this goes. There are actually three things that I'm working on. So there's new Liz and Nate, and there's a new series for a new character called Hadley Cooper. And this is a new mystery series. Hadley is a private investigator licensed by the state of South Carolina, just like Liz. And I started working on her actually several years ago. I sort of developed this character. I was thinking about trying something different. And then I set her aside because I was focused on Liz. And this time when I was working on this book, and originally I was calling it Lowcountry Lies, and you know, I started writing the book and the story just really needed a different detective. It was not really, it didn't feel like a good Liz story. It needed a new detective. And so I pulled Hadley back out and sort of developed her and developed her world. And Hadley actually lives on Sullivan's Island as opposed to an island that's a figment of my imagination. So this is just what I felt like I wanted to write. And it's not that I've given up on Liz and Nate. I love Liz and Nate. There will be more Liz and Nate. But there will be, I need to write this book for Hadley first. And then we will work on finding a home for Hadley. Liz and Nate may also get a new home, a new publishing home. I will start getting back the rights to the 10 books that have already been published next year. So as I get those back, because I want to keep them in circulation. I want folks to be able to buy Lowcountry Boil if they are starting the series. So I will probably independently publish those books as I get them back so that we can keep them out there. Unless my agent finds another solution for that, that's probably what I'll do. So because those books will gradually be independently published, you know, I'll get the rights to one back a year and they will be out there under my, you know, publishing banner or whatever. I may decide to write new Liz and Nate books and independently publish those as well. It just depends on a lot of things. So we've got to kind of work through this year to figure the transition from Henry Press to a different publisher, and then also what I'm going to do with Liz and Nate. And this is just going to take me a little bit of time, and I ask you to be patient while we get this figured out. I wish I had a better answer. So the short story is I'm working on three things. I'm working on Liz and Nate, I'm working on Hadley Cooper, and I'm working on a women's fiction book. Not all right now, but I have outlines for these things. I have, story ideas in my head that I want to write. I'm actively right now working on the Hadley Cooper book because that story is the most vivid in my head, and I want to get that finished and have something for my agent to work with. So that's where we are. I'm working on three different things, not all simultaneously. There will be more Liz and Nate. There'll be some Hadley Cooper, and there'll be a women's fiction book. And I'm working as fast as I can. I promise I'm not goofing off. Okay. So, Lynn, I probably told you more than you ever wanted to know. Joan Billings Brogan have loved every single Lowcountry adventure of Liz and Nate. One a year is not enough. Joan, I wish I could write faster. I'm trying. And as soon as I get myself settled into a new routine, I'll try. Now, last year, to be fair, last year there were two. I think one other year there were two. And then, I'm going to work on it. I promise I'm going to work on writing faster. So Denise Hines wants to know, I would love to know why my local library does not have your books. Denise, I would like to know that too. I would love for all of my books to be in every library. And, they're in some and not in others, as I'm sure you know. Some readers have had good luck with requesting at circulation departments, and then libraries will order the books. So if you ask, they may well order the books, and I hope that they do. Yeah, someone else just says on here that she had done that, that she requested and her library ordered them. Okay, so Andrea Richards wants to know, are you doing any live signings in the Wilmington, North Carolina area? Andrea, I love Wilmington. I don't have anything planned at current. As soon as the next book is released, hopefully COVID will allow there to be a book tour, and hopefully Wilmington will be on the list of places that I come, because I love going to anywhere on the coast, and Wilmington is great. So I hope to be coming back there. Stay tuned. It will all be posted in the Facebook group, on my page, and in my newsletter. So Suzanne Howe wants to know, when will the next adventure be released? And Suzanne, I think I've probably talked longer than y'all wanted me to about that. So Sharon Frank asked, would you please post your recipe for chili again? I thought I had saved it, but cannot find it. Thanks muchly. Hey, Sharon. So in case some of you don't know, I send recipes out in my newsletter about once a month. And at one point I sent out a recipe for super chili, which is a recipe that I came up with, and it actually won a chili cook-off. So this is prize-winning chili, y'all. But the thing about the chili recipe, Sharon, is that it actually is posted on my blog. So if you go to my website and click on blog, there'll be an index over there, and you can probably find that fairly easily. So the chili recipe is actually online. If you Google super chili Susan and Boyer, it'll probably come right up. Other recipes, we're working on a way to have all these recipes in one place, where if you're a newsletter subscriber, you can go and just look at them and refer to them anytime you want to, because I send them out once a month, but nobody really wants to have to keep up with all those newsletters. So we're working on a way that you can access them whenever you like. And when I say we here, actually, I mean Marianne is working on that. And very often that's the case. If I say that we are working on something, it very likely is Marianne, except for the writing. I do all that myself, I promise. But Marianne does a lot of other things. So chili recipes on my blog. Okay. Zelda Nichols, I love all your books, never stop writing. Oh, Zelda, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I have no plans to stop writing. I've got all these characters in my head. I've got to get them out. So let's see. Linda Wachter wants to know, how do I get in on your book club? I would love to be a part of it. Linda, you have commented in the book club, and so that tells me that you are in fact a member of the book club. And I know that can be confusing when you first join, because the post and everything just show up in your feed like everything else, and it may not be immediately clear that you're actually in the book club, but you are here. Becky Blanton Brown has several questions. The first one is, I would love to know about your writing process. Do you outline it or just go for it? Becky, I have to have an outline. So I start with the idea, who did what to who and why. And I figure out all the characters who are not recurring characters, and figure out, how they sort of play a part of the story. So the suspects, if you will, the culprit, and figure out all of their story. And then I do an outline, and I do this on a spreadsheet. I have like one line for every chapter, and I figure out how my detective is going to solve that mystery. And once I have that outline, sometimes I'll write a synopsis, which is just a very, I'll do maybe a 10-page synopsis. It's just like a very condensed version of the story at a very high level. And then I go back and write it. Doing those things helps me get the story straight in my head and not go off on too many tangents. That works for me. I know a lot of people who are pantsers. They just write and it comes to them. And I wish it worked that way for me, but it doesn't. I have to have the outline. So Becky, I also would like to know how I found my agent. So in the beginning, when I had a manuscript that was ready for submission, I was using querytracker.com, which I highly recommend. It's a tool online. There's a free version, and then there's a paid version. At the time I was using it, the paid version was $25 a month, and it was well worth it because they have all the agents in there, and you can filter them on like what you write and what kind of agent you're looking for and that kind of thing, and filter on agents who are open to submissions and that kind of thing. So use querytracker.com, and I think that will help you a great deal. So I found my first agent that way, and she was excited about my book. Lowcountry Boil is the book that I was sending out at that time. And my first agent, I think the important thing is to find somebody who's excited about your work. And she was very excited about my work, and I was excited to be working with her. And she was getting ready to send this out on submission. She was getting everything ready. And then she became ill and went on medical leave, and was not able to continue working. So they moved me to a different agent in that same agency. And this agent, very, very good agent, but he worked primarily with urban fantasy and different genres like that. So not really the same thing I was writing. And after a while, I had become aware of a small boutique publisher for mysteries that was just starting up, and I knew the folks that were involved with it and thought that would be a good fit for me, and it was. In the beginning, that was a good starting point for me. So Lowcountry Boil, and then the next books, all the first 10 books were published through Henry Press. And at some point in there, I just decided, because I knew them well, they knew me, we were working together, and the contracts really were not that, they weren't different from one to the next. It was fairly straightforward. So I felt like I didn't need an agent at that point. And so I think I left out a step. At some point, I signed with another agent, and this was someone that I met at an RWA conference. And so conferences are another good way to meet agents. And, she and I got together, we kind of hit it off. And then after that, we decided to work together. But then at some point I decided that I didn't really need an agent with that publisher. And at that time I planned to be with that publisher for a while. And as it turned out, I was with them for a while. But then later I decided that I did need another agent. And I signed with the agent I'm working with now, who is Christina Hogreba at, I hope I said that right, at Jane Rock Rosen Agency. And she is fabulous, and I love her. And so I'm very, very happy to be working with her. So it was kind of a process for me finding an agent, Becky, but I recommend, if you're looking, that you use Query Tracker. That's a great tool. And just look until you find an agent who is excited about your work, because that's what you want. somebody who's excited. So her second question, Becky, oh, I'm sorry, that was the second. The third one is, what advice do you have for aspiring authors? And I think I have two pieces of advice. Be persistent, just keep at it. If you really want to do this, just keep at it. Just don't give up. A lot of people give up, and publishing can be, it can be challenging. It's a challenging field, and you just have to keep at it. And then the other piece of advice that I have, be persistent, but also be patient. Don't just, jump at the first opportunity that's presented to you. Wait until you have the right opportunity, maybe not the first opportunity. So be persistent and be patient. Those are my two best pieces of advice. And have a good editor. Okay, everybody needs an editor. Okay, so Kathy says, this is not a question, but I just love the dialogue and banter between Liz's mama and daddy. The Talbots are the epitome of a Southern family. You have nailed it. Kathy, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I have such a great time writing Mama and Daddy. I think I hear a lot from readers who really love Mama and Daddy. And I think aside from Liz and Nate, Mama and Daddy and Colleen are the ones that I get the most email about, or the most comments about, or that people seem to like, the best. So, and I enjoy writing them, and I'm sure that shows. Okay, Jane Kane would like to know, do you live in South Carolina? Jane, I did and I don't like to talk about numbers, but I did live in South Carolina for over 30 years. I've actually lived there longer than I've lived in North Carolina, but I was born and raised in North Carolina, in Rowan County, which is north of Charlotte. And recently, my husband and I moved back here to be closer to my parents. I still plan to spend a lot of time in South Carolina. As a matter of fact, I just got back from there. We went to Pawleys Island last week for a week, and it was wonderful. You may have seen some of my pictures online. And I will be going shortly to the Charleston area because I want to spend some time there while I'm working on this book. And I love the Charleston area. Okay, so Jenny Britt, I love Liz and Nate's healthy lifestyle, running each morning and balancing her mom's cooking with their own lighter choices. Does this mirror your own routine? I feel like after reading 10 books, I'm inspired to run 5 miles every morning on the beach, or I'm inspired to run 5 miles. Jenny, I wish I could tell you that I ran 5 miles every day, but here's the thing. I make Liz do the things that I know that I should do, but I don't want to do. I'm not a runner. I myself do not run unless something is chasing me with big teeth. Now I do exercise, and I believe in exercise, and I want to exercise. I feel better when I exercise, but I don't run. I jazzercise, and I started doing this years ago. And I would go, this is when I had a different job, and I would get off work and I would go straight to jazzercise on my way home, and I loved it. But then, after I left that job and started writing full time, for a while, I would leave the house and go and exercise and come home. But it is a very different thing to stop at jazzercise on your way home when you're already dressed and out, than it is to leave your home and go to exercise and then come back. If you're going to work from home, it's very tempting to just go to work and skip the exercise. So that was a little dicier, and I kind of fell off the wagon and wasn't doing it for a while. But then I really wanted to get back into it, but then there was COVID. So what I did, I started doing jazzercise on demand, which I love. It's on my TV. I can select the workout that I want. I can select the instructor that I want. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it. If you like jazzercise and are having trouble getting to class for whatever reason, I recommend you give it a try. I really do enjoy it. I like to dance. So I dance at home, and I have a lot of fun with it. I try to eat healthy. On weekends, I pretty much eat what I want, what other people are having. But through the week, I have a lot of salads and, just different things that are healthy. I like a vegetable plate. I try to get my vegetables. I'm not a vegetarian, but I do try to eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and that kind of thing, whole grains, things that are good for us. So Jenny, the answer is I try, but I will never have the healthy lifestyle that Liz has, I don't think. But I aspire to it, which is why she has it. That's kind of the way this works. Kind of the same way that I aspire to have a beachfront home, so she gets one. It's like that. So, okay. I think I have run out of questions for today. That's all of them. And of course, the big one is when's the next book coming? The next book coming. And I don't have a good answer for that, and I'm sorry, but I'm working on it. I'm working hard. I promise I'm not being slack, and I will let you guys know as soon as I have a good answer for when you can expect more Liz and Nate, the first Hadley Cooper, and the women's fiction book. So I'm busy. And I will keep you guys posted. Please stay tuned to information in the Lowcountry Book Club, on my Facebook page, Instagram, all the places I am, and of course my newsletter. And if you would just please do one thing for me, sign up for my newsletter, because that's the one thing that I can control. Every platform that's out there, where authors spend time with readers, either Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram or whatever. These are platforms that we don't control. And so if I post something online, there's no guarantee that you're going to see it because of the algorithms and whatnot. But if you get my newsletter and you open it, then I can give you information, and there's nobody between you and me. It's a direct communication. So please, if you're interested in the next book, or in Hadley, or in the women's fiction book, please sign up for my newsletter so that I can let you know and be sure that you get the information. All right, this has been fun. I'll post a new graphic and with Ask Me Anything on there. And if you have more questions, just put them there, and we'll do this again soon. All right, you guys take care.